I want to play this video. Clay Travis tweeted, MSNBC historian says, if you vote for Republicans, your kids will be murdered and democracy will die. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado.
And a historian 50 years from now, if historians are allowed to write in this country, and if there are still free publishing houses and a free press, which I'm not certain of, but if that is true, a historian will say what was at stake tonight and this week was the fact whether we will be a democracy in the future, whether our children will be arrested and conceivably killed. We're on the edge of a brutal authoritarian system, and it could be a week away.
Like,
and a historian.
This is what happens. They watch MSNBC, and this guy says if the Republicans win, they're going to arrest your children and kill them. Like, they actually think in their minds, the cop is going to be like, you know, Trump's orders, walk into your house, take your 7-year-old in cuffs, and then bring him to a firing squad. What are they imagining happens in this country?
They're riding the back of the Trump bad narrative, man. The whole Biden administration and momentum is based on look how bad Trump was. It's so annoying. And now they're still saying it. They've extrapolated it to Trump's voter base. Right. And how bad they are. How bad they are. It's just Nazi propaganda, man. It's what Hitler did to the communists with the Reichstag fire. It's just this full false flag nonsense about creating a boogeyman. That's what I'm getting out of it.
The funny thing is if you juxtapose it to what McCarthy has said or the GOP agenda is after midterm elections. Do you know what it is?
What is it?
Entitlement reform.
Yeah.
So you have this guy screaming that, you know, like they're going to genocide your kids. And then McCarthy's like, actually, we just want to cut Social Security. You know, like, but it just, but on the other, how do I say this? I wish the GOP was half as radical as these people think it is. Because the disappointing thing is that the GOP is not nearly prepared to actually use the electoral windfall that it's going to get. For nothing it did, by the way. I think people are voting Republican, understandably, because the Democrats are so insane. But the GOP, I don't think, is prepared to actually use the electoral gains it's going to get to change the trajectory of the country in a meaningful way.
Bill Maher's a great example of what's wrong with the left, because you can see it when he says things on his show about the woke left and the whiny millennial and Gen Z babies and all that stuff. It's like, okay, he's clearly heard something, but he's not actually Googled it. Like, he's seen a video on Twitter and then said, oh, heavens me, I'm not going to research that. So then he goes on MSNBC and he's like, these right wingers are so violent. It's like, bro, there was an insurrection on May 29th, 2020, where there were thousands of far left extremists. There's photos of DC with fires raging. It's an overhead view of DC. You see smoke everywhere. They tore down the barricades at the White House. They set fire to St. John's Church. They firebombed a guard post on the White House grounds, and they injured 150 cops. 529. Worse than January 6th.
No, that's exactly right.
The president was forced into a bunker.
But I'm glad that Bill Maher will just kind of reflexively, do that, because it reminds people that, like, you can't trust people like Bill Maher. I'm sorry, like, their tendency is always going to be to punch right at the moment of decision, and I think that's good that people are reminded of that, because there was a moment where, there was that segment that Bill Maher did, I think, with Weiss about COVID. And like, it was Weiss basically finally saying like, well, I'm not comfortable with like masking, things like that, right? It's like the rest of us are like already fed up with this. But because Bari Weiss and Bill Maher talk about it, now it's fine, right? Now we can start saying like the masking and the vaccines and all the regulations were dumb and wrong. So I think it's good that Maher will still kind of misstep and expose himself.